Hello, everyone. Sarah here. Today's video is going to be about the signs of a dysregulated nervous system, specifically 6 signs. And as you know, I always like to follow it with debunking common advice that's given to combat that. I firmly and fully and completely believe the fastest, most effective way to get to the core and root of your trauma is using the power of your unconscious mind. We have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. That's where all the programming, thoughts, images, feelings, beliefs about ourselves are stored. So accessing that, getting to the very core and root of what's causing these symptoms, because the signs are symptoms. And I just made a post that said sign and symptoms are just that. So beware. They're an expression of what's going on further, more deeply within you. So beware of these signs and symptoms as they are just that. But these are 6 signs and symptoms of a dysregulated nervous system. Then we're going to debunk the stuff that they tell you to do to combat this, right? That might help alleviate or make a little bit more mild the signs and symptoms, but it does not get to the very core and root of it so that you're not experiencing these signs and symptoms the way that you are when your nervous system is completely dysregulated and completely wrecked, which it is if you've experienced long-term trauma, cptsd, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, if you were raised in an emotionally unavailable or an emotionally neglectful upbringing, environment, family dynamic system, if you were in a toxic or narcissistic relationship, your nervous system it's like haywire. It is not functioning properly, correctly, smoothly. And you're more than likely going to experience these 6 signs and symptoms that we are going to go over today. So let's get to it. The signs of a dysregulated nervous system. Sign numero uno. You feel tired, and not just tired, you feel exhausted, you feel drained. You literally feel like you have no energy. It takes energy to just sit there. You feel tired, you feel exhausted, and you also feel unable to switch off. You feel unable to relax, and just sitting there doing nothing, right? On the outside, it looks like you're doing nothing. You should be able to relax when you're just sitting there, right? Sometimes people call that relaxing. We all have our different definitions of relaxing, but most people would define it as sitting there, relaxing, lying down, doing nothing. And even when you're doing that, even when you're just sitting there, just lying there, you feel that you're unable to switch off because that switch doesn't feel like it's external. That switch feels like it's internal. So you don't necessarily have to be externally busy. Internally, it feels like you're busy. It feels like you're running a mental and emotional marathon because you feel unable to switch off and relax. That's a sign that you have a dysregulated nervous system. And obviously, that is exhausting on all levels. So when I talk about levels, what I'm meaning is mentally, emotionally, energetically, spiritually. So all of those. And there are different multiples, levels and layers to us. You know, we're not just one dimensional, right? So that's what I'm talking about. This feeling is present on all dimensions and on all levels. Another sign of a dysregulated nervous system is that you feel on edge. You feel ready. You feel like you're being attacked, even though logically and literally externally, you know that there's no one attacking you. You feel on edge though. You feel ready to pounce. You feel ready to run. You feel ready to fight. That's that fight, flight, freeze, fawn trauma mechanism kicking in. And that feeling has you feel on edge constantly, all the time. You feel overwhelmed, right? Over is like an extension. So an extension of overwhelm. You just feel like it's too much. And you feel this feeling of feeling on edge and feeling overwhelmed, even when things are going well. You can logically and consciously understand that things are going well, that there's no reason to feel overwhelmed, to feel on edge, yet you do. That's a sign and an indication of a nervous system that is dysregulated. The next sign is that you overreact, right? There's react, which means acting again, and you do it over, meaning too much. You overextend, you're overreacting, and you do this when it comes to harmless triggers. And what I mean by harmless triggers are, somebody dropping, if you're in a kitchen and you're just at home and one of your kids drops a cup or drops a spoon or drops a fork or drops a toy or something on the ground, that's harmless, right? That's normal. You drop something, you pick it up. But if you overreact, and that's a trigger for you, and that's a false alarm, and your nervous system just, right? Because someone dropped a spoon or a toy on the ground. That is a sign of a dysregulated nervous system. You're overreacting to a harmless trigger, but it's that sound that just, so your nervous system is already on, open, firing, and that little teeny sound of a drop of something on the ground just sets it off. There's what's called a false alarm. That's not a true, real alarm. There's no harm in something being dropped on the ground, or even the sound of something being dropped on the ground. But your nervous system is already on and already open and already ready to go, ready to fight, ready to flight, ready to flee, ready to get out of there, ready to go, oh my gosh, let me get that for you, right? Again, linking back to all those trauma responses, those 4 F's. So you notice that you overreact to harmless or false alarms. So maybe you blow up on your kids when they drop the spoon, and then you feel bad, you feel guilty because what the hell? Why'd you do that? Why would you go off on your children because they dropped something on the ground? We all drop things. And so you start to have these thoughts of, what is wrong with me? I know that was wrong, but it was as if I couldn't help it. What is going on? What is going on is that your nervous system is dysregulated. The next sign is that you have concentration problems, you have focus problems. And a lot of people will connect with this, say, oh, I have ADD, I have ADHD, I'm hypervigilant. And I'm not here to diagnose anybody, but you will notice that you have concentration problems. You have a difficult time concentrating on one thing for a certain length or period of time. You have difficulty keeping yourself focused. Maybe you can stay focused for a minute and then you're over here, over there, over there, over there. You're distracting yourself, and it takes you an hour to do something that should only take you maybe 5 or 10 minutes to do, because you're constantly here, because you have a difficult time staying focused, staying concentrated, slowing down, being present, being mindful, being aware. And it feels like you have brain fog. So part of this is it feels like you can't even see what you need to do next. You know that you need to do something, and it's on your mental and emotional to-do list, which leads to the feeling of feeling heavy, overwhelmed, drained, exhausted. But you have a difficult time focusing on something or staying focused on it long enough to see it through to completion because of the brain fog. It's like you can't see past here, even though you know you need to do this and you know what the outcome is going to be and you know how good it would feel to be able to complete it and check that off your to-do list. But you can't because your brain is foggy. It can't think or see things clearly. So that's another sign of a dysregulated nervous system. Another sign that's connected with that is you feel spaced out. Some people say this is, some dissociation, disconnection. They feel like they're floating. They feel like they're drifting above themselves, and they feel like they're looking down on themselves and they're living this life, but they're not really connected, present, tuned in to that life that they're living. So they don't feel connected. They don't feel present. They feel energetically dissociated or disconnected. They feel spaced out is what a lot of people will say. They feel numbed out. And sometimes this numbness presents physically in your body. Your body just feels numb. And unfortunately, this leads to wanting to feel, which can carry people down the road of self-harm. They feel like they're stuck on autopilot. They just, every day is the same. Every day is draining. Every day is monotonous. Every day is blah, blah, blah. I live a blah, blah, blah life. And that is a sign of a dysregulated nervous system. If you're unable to experience the highs and the lows, the joys, the happiness, the fulfillment, and the sorrow and sadness and pain, right? If you feel just blah, spaced out, numb on autopilot, that's a sign of dysregulated nervous system. A tapped in, tuned in, turned on nervous system can feel all the feelings and identify and really connect with that feeling that they're feeling, but it doesn't get stuck in one for far too long. So even in investing in doing the inner work to healing, it doesn't mean that you're never going to feel feelings like sadness, depression, worry, guilt, anxiety, shame. But the beauty of it is that you don't get locked in that on autopilot. You don't get locked into that for too long for an extended length of time. You can feel it, and then you feel it. You allow that feeling to come up to be felt, and feel that feeling till it no longer needs to be felt. And you no longer are interested in suppressing it or depressing it or numbing out from feeling it. So experience a full range of emotions instead of getting locked into autopilot, one of those negative feelings or the feelings that you don't want to feel. So that's a sign of a dysregulated nervous system. If you're numb, spaced out, or on autopilot and stuck in one of those lower vibrational energies or feelings. Another sign is that you react rather than respond. And this happens when you feel stuck on autopilot. You're stuck on the autopilot of anger, let's say. Everything just irks you, ticks you off, pisses you off, and you're so angry about everything. Maybe in certain environments, you have to, put this mask of calm, cool, collected on, like it doesn't impact or bother you. Say, for example, at work, because you need to be cool at work, because you need to get through whatever you need to do during the day at work so that you can get that paycheck and pay the bills and live your life. So you pent up and store all of that anger up because you're nothing to see here, nothing's bothering me, but your nervous system is dysregulated because you're not expressing it in safe and healthy ways. And that leads to you feeling that there's something wrong with you, feeling ashamed, feeling hurt, feeling rejected, feeling stupid, feeling incapable, feeling unlovable, feeling that other people would judge you if you express that you needed help or that you didn't understand something. So all of that leads to feeling anger. You get stuck in that anger on autopilot, and then you react instead of respond. You don't respond appropriately. You don't find what it is that you need and go after whatever it is that you need to do to get that. Oftentimes it's in the form of help or support in a healthy, caring, kind, compassionate, loving way. So you react from that stuck state of anger instead of responding to it and going, I really am feeling frustrated with myself because I don't understand this. Who can I go to? Where can I go to receive help and support and understanding so that I can process this and not take it out on those around me or not suppress it, push it down, repress it. So you get into this state of reacting instead of responding. And in that state, you find it difficult to control how you feel. So with all of that built up, pent up anger, you find it difficult to control how you feel. It's as if that anger is controlling you instead of you controlling it. So that anger seems to take over, and it seems like there's nothing you can do about it, nothing you can do about it to stop it, fix it, or change it. So all of those are signs of a dysregulated nervous system. That word got stuck on my tongue in my mouth. So signs of a dysregulated nervous system. And if you identify that with that, if you connect with that, if you say, yes, that's me, that's what I experience, that's what I go through, that's what everything in my life is like, and I don't know what to do to fix it, change it, stop it. It's been that way forever, for as long as I can remember. There may be links to childhood, inner unhealed wounds from childhood, right? Beliefs that you've established and developed about yourself that led to the very beginning of that nervous system becoming dysregulated. It's not an overnight thing like, oh, everything's fine. And then, oh, suddenly my nervous system dysregulated. This is something that happens over time. So it is directly related to things that happened to you in your past, to your upbringing, to your childhood, to those inner unconscious beliefs that you developed about yourself that are impacting your nervous system. That's why through transformational healing, there is a collection and correlation to neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro is the neurons, and all of that's connected to your nervous system. It impacts everything about your being. Your physical being, your emotional being, your mental well-being, it's all connected. It's all related. It's not just separate systems. They're all a part of you. And that's what I was talking about earlier, the multi-dimensions of you. So you will see advice out there. And if you've been following me, you know my feelings about advice. What should I do? Well, what you need to do, what you need to connect with truly and deeply within you is going to be different from anyone else's experience. So advice, sometimes it works, but it's generally short-lived. So what to do about it? People will tell you deep breathing, right? And maybe that causes that that release for a moment, but we're all always breathing. Even when you're angry, you're breathing. So if breathing were truly the answer, wouldn't that stop you from getting angry? Wouldn't breathing alone regulate your nervous system? Right? Deep breathing, right? And not to discount or say that, breath work and all of that stuff is bad. I'm just saying that alone will not get you to that state where you've connected with the unconscious beliefs you have about yourself that are linked to and correlated to this dysregulated nervous system. That is a part of it, but people will tell you take deep breaths. Well, that's good. It maybe gets you through this bit of it, but what about the rest of it, right? So deep breathing, meditation. But when you're in the heat of that and you're overwhelmed and you're consumed by that anger, you're not going to just hold on. I need to meditate. You're in the heat of it and the height of it. So that's that nervous system like blowing up like a volcano, and you're not going to stop and meditate in that moment. You may meditate in the morning, you may meditate at night, you may journal, whatever it is. And all those things are good, but they don't really get you to the core and root of what's truly going on with your nervous system and the dysregulated experience it's having that's causing all of these other signs and symptoms. So exercise, yes, obviously moving your body, eating healthy, and exercising is really, really good and is a part of keeping your nervous system on track, regulated, stable, and solid and healthy. But that alone, exercise alone, will not regulate your nervous system. Disconnect from technology. Yes, right. A detox from electronics. But even if you take that detox, say that you take a day or a weekend and you disconnect from social media, from electronics, you'll more than likely feel better. But when you enter back into that and you begin using your phone and you begin reconnecting again, you may notice that you go right back into that state of dysregulation. So we live in the 21st century. We can't stay disconnected from electronics all the time. It's like the world and life that we live now. So you can't always stay disconnected from technology. Connecting with nature, again, is another thing that you will see that people say to do. Grounding. And those are all really, really good techniques, but you can't just walk around with no shoes on in nature all the time, right? You have a life to live, you have work, you have families, you have, friends that you want to go connect with. And it's really difficult to do that or feel good about doing that with a dysregulated nervous system. So connecting with nature, yes, wonderful. I love it. It's the way that I restore my soul, but you can't be doing that all the time for most people anyway, right? If you're like a wilderness explorer, you probably don't have as many side effects from a dysregulated nervous system, but not everyone can do that all the time. Eating well, getting plenty of rest. But the problem with rest is when you have a dysregulated nervous system, that first sign and symptom that I talked about is you feel tired, but you feel unable to switch off and relax. So how can advice be get plenty of rest? Because you try to, you attempt to, you lie in bed and you're thinking, well, they said get plenty of rest, so go to sleep. Oh, that's right. I was supposed to disconnect from technology. Well, what am I else supposed to do? Because I'm just lying here and I can't sleep, but they said to get plenty of rest. And then you get frustrated. And then those cogs in your mind start spinning faster and faster and faster, which leads to anxiety, which leads to getting up out of bed and going to do something else to try to calm yourself down. And is it ever going to end? Right? So the advice on what to do about it, like I said, not bad, but doesn't always work. It takes getting to the core and getting to the root of it through the utilization of the power of your unconscious mind to really make those inner connections, to make that inner transformation, to allow for that inner change and healing from the inside out. Your nervous system is not outside of you, right? This is not a nervous system. This is not a nervous system. It's not on the outside of you. It's not out there. Your nervous system is in here. So to regulate it, that's the exact place you've got to go. You've got to go to the very core and root of what controls it. So that is why I'm so passionate about transformational healing, about using the unconscious mind to get you there to that place of inner transformation, inner healing, healing those inner wounds, feeling those inner wounds until they no longer need to be felt, so that your nervous system is solid, stable, it feels safe, it feels calm, it feels able to process all of the things that you're going to go through in life and that you're currently going through, so that you can get through it with ease, with grace, with love, with kindness, with compassion, with forgiveness for yourself, and most importantly, feeling safe within yourself, connection to your nervous system, trusting it, believing that it's working for you instead of against you. So completely shifting and transforming all those inner unconscious beliefs that you have about yourself, and really getting to that place where you are one with your nervous system. Because it's internal, it allows all of the other parts of your body and your experience to function. But if it's dysregulated, it's not functioning properly. So that's my video about dysregulated nervous systems and the common advice that I just quite frankly and honestly feel is not enough. It's not standalone. Go meditate and walk and you'll regulate your nervous system. That is a part of it, but there's so much more. And a lot of people do that and then they miss the biggest key component, the biggest most powerful part of this inner work to healing is truly connecting with your inner self, using your unconscious mind to transform, change, and heal you from the inside out to regulate your nervous system. So if you are interested in finding out more information about transformational healing, I would love to connect with you. You can find more information on my website using the resource links in the description below this video. So I invite you to go there. I invite you to like, share, comment, subscribe if you find this information helpful to you along your journey, especially if you are someone who comes from a past that's full of trauma, that's still carrying the heaviness and the weight of all that trauma with you as you're trying to navigate your way through this journey called life. So I'd love to be a part of your transformation, your journey to healing. You can also find more information about transforming past pain to present power, my incredible program that people are getting phenomenal results with, if you are interested. So thank you guys. That is it for today's video. And I look forward to connecting with you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.